Alto su barco! Hold on! Alto su barco! Alto su barco!
The ocean was calm, too calm. The morning the U.S. Navy picked up the signal. A faint acoustic pulse, barely detectable, sliding beneath the thermal layer like a whisper moving through the deep. At first, analysts thought it was a whale or a drifting sonar buoy. But then the pattern repeated. Rhythmic, engine-like, artificial. It wasn't a creature. It wasn't debris. It was a submarine, but not one belonging to any navy. This one was small, fast, quiet, purpose-built to vanish. A narco-sub, and judging by the signal strength, it was headed straight for American waters, loaded, heavy, and determined. The USS Tulsa, a fast-response combat ship, was the closest asset. The captain received orders that were short and blunt. Intercept, board, seize. No delays, no negotiations, no escape. Within minutes, the Tulsa changed course, slicing through the water. Drones launched from the deck. Sonar arrays lit up. Helicopters spun to readiness. Everything about the pursuit felt routine until analysts noticed something odd. The sub wasn't running blind. It was weaving, dipping, changing depth and sharp patterns, avoiding detection nets with unnatural precision. Someone was piloting it like a fighter jet, not a cargo vessel. This wasn't a rookie crew. It was elite. And whatever they were carrying, they were protecting it with their lives. As the Navy tightened the noose, the sub dove deeper, almost dangerously so, where pressure could crush a vessel designed by amateurs. But this one didn't slow, didn't crack, didn't hesitate. The engineers watching the telemetry muttered the same thing. It's reinforced, meaning engineered, meaning funded, meaning backed by someone far bigger than a cartel. When the Navy finally forced the sub towards shallower waters with a combination of sonar harassment and directional charges, the Real chase began. Helicopters swept low. Rigid-hull boats sped forward. The Tulsa closed from behind. Then the sub did something no one expected. It surfaced, abruptly, like it was out of options. But it wasn't surrendering. It was stalling. A hatch cracked open. Two men climbed out with hands raised. Too calm, too composed, while a third man vanished back inside. Navy SEALs rappelled onto the hull, weapons ready. The moment they breached the hatch, everything changed. The interior was wrong. Too spacious. Too reinforced. Too engineered. Not a homemade narco-sub. Not a cartel toy. This thing was built like a military vessel. Thick hull, modular compartments, pressure-resistant seams. It could have crossed oceans. And in the rear chamber, the real shock waited. Pallets of sealed containers. Metallic. Temperature-controlled. Laser-welded. This wasn't cocaine wrapped in plastic or fentanyl bricks in duffel bags. This was industrial cargo. The SEALs cracked the first container. Inside were blocks of crystalline powder. Not white, not yellow, not anything typical. Translucent, almost glowing under the flashlight. The chemist on board needed only 5 seconds before he stepped back in horror. Not drugs, he whispered. Precursors. Precursor chemicals, the rarest kind, used to create synthetic narcotics in foreign superlabs. Chemicals that are banned worldwide. Chemicals worth exponentially more than their finished product. Enough precursors to manufacture billions in drugs. But then they moved to the next compartment. And that's where the mission flipped into something darker. Inside were cylinders, long, pressurized, sealed, with no markings except coded insignias. Not cartel logos. Not smuggling symbols. Chemical hazard symbols. High grade. Industrial level. And alongside them were steel cases holding equipment that didn't belong on a drug sub. Encrypted satellite transmitters, high-frequency relays, signal jammers, and 2 devices the SEALs couldn't even identify. The Tulsa's captain called it in. Command responded instantly. Secure vessel. Do not open remaining containers. Classified cargo. Transport under emergency protocol. The SEALs stared at each other. Classified? How could it be classified? This was a cartel sub, wasn't it? Questions piled up fast, but before they could investigate further, the situation turned explosive. The sub shook. Hard. The SEAL nearest the engine room heard something thumping. A rapid metallic click 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 echoing through the hull. Then smoke. Then sparks. The third man, the one who never surrendered, had sabotaged the engine core. The sub was rigged to self-destruct. The SEALs rushed him, dragging him out kicking and shouting, but it was too late. The engine temperature spiked. Pressure rose. The vessel groaned like it was about to implode. The team had one choice: evacuate or sink with it. They signaled the Tulsa. Ropes dropped. SEALs climbed out with the captured crew member in restraints. The sub shook again, metal groaning under internal compression. Then it detonated. The explosion wasn't huge, not a fireball, not cinematic, but a violent inward collapse. Like a king crushed by invisible hands. The hull folded. The compartments tore open. Debris shot upward as the ocean swallowed what remained. Whatever was inside those sealed containers was gone. But the Navy had already removed 2 samples. One precursor drum, one sealed steel case. Those 2 artifacts went straight to forensic labs under military escort. The results leaked weeks later. The drum contained precursor chemicals used almost exclusively by top-tier Asian super labs, factories capable of producing synthetic narcotics at planetary scale. Not street drugs, industrial formulas, but the steel case. That was the shock. Inside were microchips, transmitters, processing units, and control modules. Not military, not civilian, not cartel-produced, advanced. Some components were identical to those found in classified foreign spy hardware. Others matched parts seized from covert surveillance networks. One chip was so unfamiliar that the lab initially thought it was alien, until they realized it resembled experimental quantum processing units only one country is known to be testing. This wasn't a drug sub. It was a hybrid, part smuggling vessel, part intelligence craft, part mobile lab, part surveillance platform. Someone wasn't just moving chemicals. They were monitoring shipping lanes, mapping Coast Guard responses, testing Navy detection patterns, and using cartel operations as cover. The deeper investigators dug, the worse the picture became. Satellite data showed the sub had traveled thousands of miles, not coastal routes, but deep-sea arcs. It had rendezvoused with at least 3 ships from foreign registries. It had traveled through regions known for covert intelligence activity. This wasn't a cartel operation infiltrating U.S. waters. This was a foreign intelligence operation using the cartels. The captured pilot cracked after 48 hours of interrogation. He wasn't cartel. He wasn't a smuggler. He wasn't even a criminal. He was trained, disciplined, government-funded, and embedded inside narcotics networks to run dual-use missions. Meaning, move drugs plus move intelligence hardware plus study U.S. naval defenses. The Navy didn't ambush a drug submarine. They intercepted a spy platform disguised as one. The sub's mission wasn't just smuggling. It was probing, mapping, testing responses, fine-tuning infiltration routes. And worst of all, it wasn't the only one. The pilot admitted, reluctantly, that 3 more subs had departed within the last 6 months. All reinforced, all hybrid, all designed to vanish beneath thermal layers and ride deep currents. All carrying mixed payloads, drugs to fund operations, hardware to support them. 2 entered Central American waters. 1 vanished near Hawaii. None were ever caught. The U.S. Navy now believes those subs may be part of a larger fleet, quiet, hidden, operating far below commercial radar. Not science fiction, not exaggeration. A real, active, covert network blending crime and intelligence. What the Navy found inside shocked the world. Not because of the drugs, but because of the blueprint behind them. A new type of warfare, a new type of infiltration, a new type of submarine. And the terrifying part? The destroyed sub was the least advanced model, meaning someone out there is building something better, faster, quieter, deadlier, and already at sea.